So what is it like living without running tap water in your house? As you can see, the sinks don't turn on, the dishwasher turns on, but you can't use it. Same with the washing machine. The toilets don't flush. And of course you can't take any showers. And it's summer. The second summer, in fact. And what about the bill itself? Does it continue accumulating? Or does the water company just send it to collections after some time, affecting only your credit score? Or can they foreclose on your house entirely? And since this is my mom's house, and I haven't been here in a while, what happened? And why did they turn off the water on her to begin with? Of course, we may plan to pay it to get it turned back on, and I'm here to do my best to help her. But at this point, she may just want to sell the house entirely. So how about we dive in it, as I am here after a year-long journey of living in a tent where I had close to nothing, hardly any money, and traveling throughout Southern California, with just my dog, my camera, a laptop, some ideas, and a growing YouTube channel. And all the while refusing to work a regular job, to go from nothing to what I call everything. No friends, no parties, just work and art to survive, all while delivering a message to you. And for those who are new here, my journey began in the hopes that one day I'd have a place of my own, a place I can, at the very least, offer my kids a home to come visit, if they wanted. Even after a year, I'm still on this same journey. I know for sure I wouldn't make it with my kids working a simple 9-to-5 job, especially here in California. For me, this channel serves two purposes: to help my kids and I financially, and my passion to help change this world. Recently, I was called back to live here with my mom again. It's been over a year since I've lived here. After a fiasco in April 2023, between my mom and my kid's mother, aka the baby mama, my mom unfortunately had my daughters and I leave, even though I had just landed a decent job to help with rent. And not even a week into that job, not even my first paycheck, and we had to go. The day was tough, and everything I was building for myself and the kids, including my mom, fell apart. So we left. My kids went to their aunt's in Long Beach, since their mom couldn't keep them where she was living. In fact, her and her family even considered placing them in adoption, similar to what she had done to her 4 other kids. And with nowhere else to go myself, I kept working in Sept camp at the first location here in the desert, the one that now everyone knows. There are no hard feelings here, at least for me. I understand emotions can get the best of us all, including my mom, including my baby mama, including myself. But we learn from them, and I like to think that's why these things happen, so we can pay attention. I also needed this time to focus on who I was becoming. Who could I be for them if I wasn't anything of value for myself? My mom is 61 years old. My father passed in early 2020, and he was the breadwinner of the home. And as a result, my mom forever has only known the stay-at-home mom life since she was 28. With only minimal work experience in her early 20s and hardly any schooling living in Mexico, with an education up to the 6th grade. My mom and dad married and were together up until he passed, leaving her behind with survivor's benefits, welfare benefits I didn't even know existed. She gets paid $1,800 a month in those benefits, paid around the 21st or the 24th of every month since my dad's passing. My dad was a good man. He worked hard as a gasoline truck driver, sometimes 12 hours a day. But even then, even despite how important his job was to society, despite how overworked his body and mind had become, it was still tough to keep up. But he did well the best he could, and I'm proud of him for that. He's a huge inspiration to me. I love you, Dad. Which left me here, most available of my 2 siblings to help her, until I wasn't, leaving my mom alone with the bills and the mortgage to pay. Of course, I accepted her choice to kick us out. I mean, what else was I supposed to do? I tried my best for that year. I got a job at the pizzeria when my business ran slow, raising my daughters alone. I was about to pay my portion with my first check. But to her, respect was also important, and I understand that. I loved my kids, I loved their mom, and I loved my mom, even despite how difficult she can be sometimes. My baby mama should have never resorted to violence, and if I didn't stop her, who knows what could have happened. My mom assumed she was moving in that day when she wasn't. We were just going to get the groceries, and I needed to make room in the car for the kids to fit. that maybe I shouldn't have invited their mom altogether, knowing my mom's distaste for her. Despite how much I loved her and the family unit, I should have just stuck with my own journey, with my kids alone, without my baby mama, for now at least. I could have been more patient, given the circumstances, but there's no turning back now. So maybe in some way, I needed all of this to happen. I remember right before all this happened, a psychic had told me that I'd be on another traveling journey. She said I needed to be okay with or without a partner. I could say she was right. Love you, Tina. But my mom isn't very savvy enough to budget after we left, leaving her to eventually fall behind on not only the water bill, but also the HOA. And come to find out, as well as the electric bill. But thankfully, I came in time before that too was shut off. So the water's been shut off since early summer 2023. It is now late summer 2024. Over a year without running water. 1 whole year. That's a pretty long time to live without running tap water, especially for an elderly lady. But with the gas and electricity still running, she's managed, and has gotten rather creative in the process. Like all of us do without money, or in scarcity of some kind. On a positive note, we're forced into creativity and learn to be resourceful. I think that's the secret beauty of poverty. If it's done right, it goes from poverty to mindful and resourceful living. She pays her car insurance and her car payment, gas bill, mortgage for the most part, phone bill, electric bill, gasoline, and food. I am helping with the electric, gas, and her phone bill at the recording of this video. Although the AC doesn't work, and we don't know why, and she also can't use the swamp cooler considering the lack of running water, she still managed to survive and figure it out over the past 2 summers. She did rather well in overcoming this sort of illusion of comfort, at least a little bit. Through the help of her friends and the will of this universe, she seemed to manage. My brother and sister help when they can. I could even say in some part they might have been a little upset with her for some of her choices, but all of this is forgiven from what I see. They too have families of their own, and have found it difficult to offer financial support, which I understand. In fact, the whole world seems to be struggling. Paycheck to paycheck seems to be the motto for everyone, including corporations and governments themselves, even whole countries. The whole world seems to be hanging on by an illusionary debt thread, and it seems to be becoming more obvious these days. So how has she, or rather now, how are we managing without running tap water? How do we wash the dishes, use the restroom, wash our clothes, or take a shower? Washing our clothes is the most obvious to figure out. The laundromat, of course. Sometimes drying our clothes here at home, left hanging on wires, or simply using the dryer, that too still works. What about drinking water, and water for the dishes? This is how we get our water. By filling all of these jugs, sometimes just a little at a time. It's about 28 gallons here. Believe it or not, we have to refill them at the water dispenser down the street about every 4 to 5 days, sometimes every 3 days. 28 gallons, we spend about $10 to $15 several times a month, sometimes more. We spend on average anywhere from $60 to $80 a month, sometimes $100, give or take. You wouldn't believe how much water we waste washing dishes, with the tap on full blast. It's crazy how much we take everyday resources for granted, like water. I never realized how wasteful I was until I had to manage with so little over the last year. Next is the bathroom. We gotta poop, of course. We can't stop that. Peeing is the easiest, at least for me. I like to pee outside anyways. I'm a natural. This is when being a dude comes in handy. Turns out I'm a pro. We use trash bags. Strong trash bags placed over the rim of the toilet, and when finished, tied and tossed into a grocery bag and taken outside into the trash. And to keep things a lot cleaner, since we don't shower here, we use wipes instead of toilet paper. Wipies are king in both the homeless, traveling, and nomadic world. And as for showers, I have to keep this one a secret, as we get free showers whenever we want. Think of it like a free gym membership. Living without running water is not so bad as you think, as long as you're not afraid to get creative and make do with what you have. Timing is everything, and the summer heat of the desert forges discipline. So my room becomes an at-home sauna I use for Bikram yoga. Where it gets tricky, however, and nearly inhumane, is what happens when you don't pay your water bill. The saddest part about all of this is in the ethics of capitalism, or rather its unethics. The water company here does not offer payment arrangements, and they've told my mom this firsthand, and I am not making any of this up. This company has told my mom they could do nothing for her until the past due balance is paid in full. She has tried and attempted various times to ask them for a payment plan, and they refused to give it to her. My mom even had a power of attorney, a friend that sort of tried harassing them into a payment plan, but never worked. So months go by, and you would think after shutting the water off they would stop charging her. But they don't. They don't stop there at all. There's a sort of hidden fee that accounts the disposal of the water for using the sewage system. And from what they've told my mom, that continues to climb no matter what. And the water company here also attaches the trash service. So the water and the trash bill and the sewage are all one. They're not separate. Thankfully, although my mom hasn't paid it, the weekly trash truck still picks up our trash. And that's a huge shout out to the trash man. Thank you, dude. This all accumulates every month, even without running water. And because of this accumulation, a lien has been placed on the house. The longer it goes, the worse it gets, eventually escalating to foreclosure on the house. And yes, they will take your home even if you're still paying your mortgage. The water bill is now at about $2,500 or more, as you've seen. And the most they've done that entire year was a care check done by the police 2 to 3 times this past year. They called it a civil wellness check, where a police officer comes into the house and checks, surveying to make sure everything is okay. To me, that's like society saying, I love you, but with a 25.5-foot pole. I originally only planned on coming up here for a graphic and web design job that had the potential to turn into a full-time partnership with a local nonprofit in this small town. And of course, in the process, to visit my mom for a week or 2, possibly a little longer. I had no idea about the liens or any of the struggles my mom had with the payment plans from the water company. I did know, however, that the water had been shut off, but none of us could do anything about that, especially while I was living in a tent trying to survive working on this channel. I didn't know it then, but this is one reason why I'm here. Despite how difficult she can be, she's still my mom, man. Even though I'd like to consider this water company to be beyond unreasonable and inhumane, it's capitalism, and it's working just fine. We all agree upon such a system, the only means in which we know of operating society. The monetary market system, it's all we've ever really known. If you don't have any money, basically, you die. The system doesn't seem to make it easy for just anyone to just live. It isn't built that way. You have to pay into it somehow to be a part of it. To make it in this system, you're nearly forced to be either a prostitute or a parasite. There is some level of narcissism that is needed in order to make it in this system. Maybe that's why so many of us are neurotic, with just a little more ego than normal. I mean, look at most TikTokers and social media influencers, or the competition to get a job. We have to be a little narcissistic to make it. An old and outdated system built thousands of years ago, just reinvented to be modernized, with just fancy technology. And politics don't change anything. They're there to just keep things the same. It's money everyone's after at the end of the day. It's interesting to me that there are hardly any fiscal and financial laws we vote on. No legislations holding Wall Street accountable. No laws on how bills are paid. And the stock market is made too complicated for the common person to understand its numeric jargon. I've never learned any of this in high school, nor did I learn how to manage my money and bills. Simple budgeting. It's just easier to just vote for Trump or Kamala. For now, it seems we will continue to agree and play the game, and believe in money and its contracts and its laws and its politics, agreements that seemingly hold value because everyone collectively agrees to it. The scarcity money reality, the real illusion. When will we realize gold is more useful, but as a conductive metal? But I did my best to talk with the water company. They responded quite well after communicating with them clearly by offering a, quote, special payment plan they don't normally do. After the hassling 80-year-old power of attorney my mom tried hiring, they just felt relieved that I had stepped in after receiving threats of suing. So the agreement is to pay them $500 a month for the next 5 months to pay off the water debt. And that's not including the regular monthly water and trash bill on top of that. The association and I had also worked out a payment plan of $300 a month, with a debt now closer to $5,000, to hopefully be paid off within the next 3 to 4 years. But my mom isn't really confident, nor can she believe it can be possible to pay all of these payments. She wants to live her life too, instead of just living to pay bills all day. So selling the house is now in question. And I wonder, in this market, should she keep the house and slowly pay the debt off and budget the best we can and continue living here, possibly with an extra roommate? Or should she just sell the house entirely and move into a more affordable place to live, cutting down costs, and with the sale of the house, pay off those liens? I mean, this house is pretty nice, and it's in a nice neighborhood. But ultimately, it's her choice. Personally, I've been gaining more photography business since I moved here, not to mention a huge increase in growth in my YouTube channel, interestingly. And it's all thanks to you. Which, by the way, if you feel it in you, please subscribe, as it helps us out tremendously right now. My dream is to eventually get into a place of my own, so that I can invite my kids without having to ask anyone for permission. A place that can also freely accept my puppy dog. The options are risky. She may not get much with all these liens and fees, commissions, appraisal, what she owes on the house, the market standing, election year, the holidays. Plus, with winter approaching, it's just a huge risk. $500 a month plus the regular water bill, $300 a month for association, a car payment, car insurance, electric, gas, food, phone. Is it worth it? Is any of this worth it?